All right, and we are recording. Okay, so welcome everybody into the latest episode of Before the Crowd. I'm sat here with Shannon Hynes, the returning guest. Welcome, Shannon.
Woohoo! Hello. You all right?
It's like the best introduction I've had. Most people are like, "Oh, hi."
Not
I bet
getting
you're
cheers
just.
anymore, are we? So you have to do the cheers yourself.
Yeah, no, it's true. I like it. I like it. So thanks for coming back on the show again after I think it was maybe the start of the summer, end of spring when
Yeah,
we did the your single release for Country Words, right?
it was in May, I think.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow, that seems like a lifetime ago
It
now.
doesn't actually seem that long ago, actually. It's
Do you not
weird.
think? Maybe just
Oh,
it's like nothing's happened, but also so much has happened because
yeah.
of lockdown.
Yeah. Oh, God. Lockdown 2.0, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully it will only be a month and then we can kind of move forward and hopefully play some music in the new year.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it will be. I think it'll be a month and we'll be fine. So
I'm sure we'll
everyone
be
follows the rules.
good. Definitely. Well, let's see how it goes. But anyway, I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk a little bit about your upcoming EP release,
Mm-hmm.
which is titled Country Words, right?
Your words as well, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I thought what we could kind of do is maybe go through it track by track. We can talk a little bit about your inspiration for each song, kind of your writing process, if you wrote them, if you co-wrote them, kind of a bit of everything really, and just kind of give your fans and the listeners a bit of an insight to the EP. So I guess kind of to kick it off then, number
Mm-hmm.
one was Off Guard.
Yes. Yeah, it seems like an old track now because this was the lead single off this whole project. When did I release it? I think I released it November last year. So I feel like that was the start of my career in a way. It wasn't because I had two releases before, but then I had a massive break. And I don't know what I was doing. I think I started gigging and I was just gigging loads. And then I eventually went back into the studio and recorded all these songs that are finally coming out. And that was the lead single that we did first. And it started off so different to how it is now.
Okay.
Like, so it was a slower song. It was a bit like it was more sad. And then it's turned out to be this commercial, like driven pop influenced song in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, definitely.
it's a big track.
It's very that's exactly what it is. Like the thing that stood out to me as well, because like when we played it live, obviously like we haven't got an organ player and there was kind of big, almost mysterious intro.
Yeah.
And then just this track hits and I was like, whoa, okay. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. I love that beginning bit. That was like a last minute decision in the studio as well. Like it was just an idea we had, and the steel player was just like, "Yeah, let me do something." And he did like maybe 2 or 3 takes, and we just picked one, and it was just literally that was it. A bit of a bit of editing, tweaking, and that was it. And it was just, and I was like, "Oh my God, I couldn't imagine it without that now."
Yeah, it's just part of the track, it's part of the identity. But
Yeah.
you said so this track started off as not a big commercial kind of pop country
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
So what made it change from, I mean, was it like a ballad or like a slower song, and how did it become what it is now?
Yeah, well, obviously it was a slow acoustic. It was an acoustic song, but it was just a bit slow. It was a bit sad, like a bit sad. It was a bit like it's about missing someone, like seeing someone and missing someone. And it was my producer actually, and it took some convincing because he was so for it. And I put a lot of the production, obviously, and a lot of this song's success down to him because if I'd have had my way initially, it wouldn't have been like this. But he kept pushing it, and I was like, do you know what? Because in the studio, I am very much try it. If it doesn't work, we don't use it. I'm very open, and I think it's important to be open. I mean, in a rehearsal room with me, I'll try anything. If I don't like it, I don't like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I know other people have better ideas sometimes, or that kind of thing. And I was like, come on, let's go for it. And we went for it. And I just, when you start to get excited,
Mm-hmm.
and we were putting all these things down, and I was starting to get excited. I was like, do you know what? He's right. And I was like, he's right. And it just kept building and building and building and building. And then it just ended up this huge, big thing. I'm so pleased with it. Like, I'm so pleased with it. And I think it was a perfect lead single as well. Like, it was a bit different to my previous material. So yeah.
It's it was a really interesting track to open it up with, because I know when we played this live in the I can't even remember the name of the venue now, wherever we were. Where was it, sorry?
The Sound Lounge.
The Sound Lounge. Okay. So when we played the Sound Lounge, because we didn't open with, did we open with this?
We did, yeah.
We did. Okay, I'm making that up. I thought we'd opened with Comfort, which is, what is that, the third song on the EP. I thought we opened with Comfort.
No, that was middle of the set. That I think that's when you guys came back on stage.
Okay.
That one, yeah. We were going to start with that, because I usually start with that. That's weird. That's really strange, actually, because I always start my sets with that, and this is the first time I started with Off Guard.
Because I was kind of curious, because I was like, oh, well, hang on, because I had in my mind it was Comfort that started, but like you said, if that's what you do in your acoustic sets, so do you think it was this kind of transformation of a track that made you want to put it first on the EP, or did it just happen?
You know what, honestly, it's probably not the answer I should give, but the only reason I put it first is because of that beginning segment.
Okay. No, but it's an introduction, isn't it? I get it.
I thought it was a really cool introduction to the whole EP. It's like this kind of thing where, like, if you put that CD and you hear this straight away, you'll be like, oh God, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, absolutely.
The only reason, yeah.
I mean, kind of going from this big sort of opening country pop track, which, I mean, actually, before we move on, I kind of wanted to talk about the lyrics in it a little bit, because it's, I mean, and you don't have to go into it, but it seems like really kind of deep and very personal lyrics.
Yeah, I don't mind going into it. It was just, I was meant to be going on holiday with an ex-boyfriend of mine to Nashville to CMA Fest, and we broke up. As that happens, and we both ended up still going to Nashville separately, because, like, if you know the UK country fan scene, loads of the UK fans go to Nashville every June to go see CMA Fest. And I saw him, I bumped into him, and we locked eyes, and I was like, damn it. I was like, I miss him. And it was just about the feelings then, do you know what I mean? Like the emotions you go through, and the emotions I felt are literally that song. Like, you know how your mind goes, you like, you know, like a cartoon or something, and you can see all the little bubbles in the air of what's going through their mind. That's how I imagine the song. So. Oh,
that's cool. I mean, that's that's quite a funny story. I mean, it sucks, but it's just like, oh God.
My mum said the other night, she was like, "You got a bloody good song out of it, though, didn't you?"
Main thing, if you can get something from a relationship, you get a song out of it. I mean, that's better than nothing, isn't it? Really. So, I mean, maybe a house would be better. I don't know. But like,
God, 50 years away, that I think.
Yeah. So I guess kind of going from that kind of big opening track of Off Guard, we then kind of slip into Fear Blinds Me, which when I looked at the track listing, if I didn't know any of the songs on the EP, that was the one that drew me in.
Really?
Just from the title, because it, I don't know, it just stood out to me a bit more. I mean, where did that title come from?
Oh God, I don't actually know where the title came from. I think it just came from, like, obviously it came from the song, but I think it's just the line that came out when I was writing the song, and I thought, you know, when you look back through a written song, 'cause I don't often have the titles first. I always write the song and then I struggle with the title, and I go back and read through the song and then pick something from that, like 9 times out of 10. So I think it's just that. And I was like, oh, I mean, and it is. I think it is a good title. So yeah, I think it just came from the story of the song, and you know.
Oh, no, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it really reminded me of I think it was like a U2 song, but I think Jack White covered it. What is it? Love is blindness, but fear blinds me. And I don't know why. I was like, oh, I want to listen to that one. Yeah. So I didn't even listen to the EP in order. That was going to be my intention. I was like, no, I'm going to this one first. Like,
oh really? Oh, I love that. That's like an amazing compliment. Thanks.
I mean, it just shows my kind of ADHD that I can't go in order. But yeah, this was actually one of my favorite songs on the EP because it surprised me because kind of I'm just looking at my notes here that I made because it kind of starts off this almost easy listening country song, like a little bit of slide guitar. And then we go after the chorus and we're in this kind of double time feel good music.
Yeah.
But then it's like a sad song as well. And I'm like,
I know.
what's going on?
For some reason. I always do it. I did it with I'm Not Pretty as well. I don't know. It's just because I think the lyric is so, it's not dark, but it's very deep and it's a very like deep subject matter. It's about not being able to fall in love. Do you know what I mean? It's like the fear of falling in love and not being able to see someone, hence the title, Fear Blinds Me, not being able to see someone and what they are because of your fear of love, which is so like dark and deep and like disgusting. But and I think it's nice to turn a song around sometimes, to not have it just so sad. Do you know what I mean? Because I love a sad song, I love a ballad, and I would honestly have an album full of ballads and love songs and sad drinking songs. But you can't do that, can you? Do you know what I mean? Maybe Taylor Swift or something, I'll be able to do it, but you can't do that. And I like turning it around sometimes. Yeah.
It's an interesting concept, and what you were saying in regards to kind of, falling in love and the feelings behind it. It's I guess the song in itself is a bit of a juxtaposition because we've got these really deep, dark emotions, but then I want to dance to it, and I
know, it's great, isn't it?
It is. I was like, I'm happy but confused and moving.
It's like a Marmite kind of thing. So it's like people either love it or people either think that is such a silly idea, like it doesn't work.
Do you think? I don't know. I didn't get that impression at all. I mean, I guess if nothing else, it really moves the song along because you do get that sort of that easy listening at the beginning, and then it becomes this not so much a jig, I guess, but that real double time, like it gets you moving sort of feel.
Yeah, it's kind of like a driven song again, isn't it? Like you get those drums, it's like, and then it completely changes. So yeah.
But it was cool. I thought it was a nice second. It was a nice song to have second on the EP after Off Guard, because you've kind of got this big country pop song to open with, almost like an anthem, and then it goes into this sort of. I felt like it was more your song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How can I put it? Almost like a fragment of you as a singer-songwriter, and it was like, cool, here's the hit. But no, and this is my favorite thing about albums, is once you listen to the hits, and the hits are great, and they're the hits for a reason. But at the same time, I love album tracks.
Oh, same. The hidden gem in the middle of an album. Oh God. And we spoke about this last time. I'm sure we spoke about this last time. No, about albums.
Okay.
And how it doesn't really happen anymore. Do you know what I mean? Well, it does. Like obviously, still look at albums, but over half the album's being released before the album comes out, and it's just such a shame because most of the time you get one hidden gem, whereas if there'd been one or two singles from a 16-track album, think how many hidden gems you'd find. Do you know what I mean? Oh God, yeah.
I don't know if it's the times that change so much with it and the audience. I mean, obviously because Spotify and shuffle and all these kind of features, whereas years ago, when if you think of like the Eagles or something, or kind of the 70s kind of rock bands, blues bands, they were just like, they were album rock, and you bought it for the album, because it was a story.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it definitely is the streaming now, like Spotify, Apple Music, all that kind of thing, because you can just click on a song. Do you know what I mean? Like, remember the days where you couldn't skip? I mean, I don't remember. We don't remember. But like, like you couldn't skip songs on like vinyls. Do you know what I mean? Like in the olden days. So yeah, it's a shame, but it's the way it is. You've just got to adapt, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, kind of talking about Spotify and that, I saw I'm not sure how much truth there is to it or when it's going to happen, but they're looking at kind of cutting royalties in half
Yeah,
for
I've seen that.
Spotify,
I've
which is
seen
really
that.
what the music industry needs right now.
It's terrible, really, isn't it? Like, I don't want to believe it until it's actually happening. So I think there's been one article or something, hasn't there? So
I saw one on, I don't know who it was, somebody shared it on Facebook and I took a look at it. But then I kind of thought to myself, well, half and nothing is nothing, really, isn't it? I mean,
I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's because you've done even with this EP, you did was it like the streamed release? And then you're doing you did a digital release and now you're doing the physical one?
No, I've done the physical release. So that's the CDs that are available exclusively on my website. And now the digital release is coming out on 23rd. So that'll be on Spotify, everywhere really. Wherever you listen to music, it'll be. So.
Okay. So with the physical release, so we can buy that on your website. So is that just CDs or is that vinyl as well? Or
it's just CDs, yeah. Just CDs now. And we'll see. I'd love to release a vinyl someday, but I'm just not sure if it's worth it quite yet.
It's a big investment, isn't it? And it's a lot of money.
It is. And I think I know a couple of people who would actually buy it. So I'm not sure if it's worth it.
Just Christmas presents. Just give them out as Christmas presents to people.
Yeah. Imagine someone opening a present from me and there's my face.
So kind of moving on with your EP a little bit now. So I guess this is this was Comfort, which is obviously your next track, as you know. This felt so old school, and I really felt like we were getting into that album feel again here, and it felt sort of Loretta Lynn, old school. Was it like the way you recorded it, or was it in a different location, or how did you get that feel?
No, it was same place, but I think we just used some different like microphone filters on Logic. So it was all editing. Like we used the same microphone for all of the vocals on the EP, but also it wasn't. We didn't do much. I mean, it didn't have much of a mix to it. So we still wanted it to have that live feel because I was going after that Dolly Loretta Lynn kind of feeling. So there wasn't much of a mix to it. We tried to keep it as live as possible, and we did use some like old school filters for the vocal track.
Okay, that makes sense. But it was definitely a different feel to that in the record because a third track in, we've gone from kind of huge pop track into now almost it felt like almost like a fan of, like you said, of Dolly and Loretta, but almost with that modern twist on it and better production than they had sort of back then.
Well, that's one thing I decided in this first EP process that I will always have on whatever I release, an EP, an album, etc., etc. I will always have a song like that, because I joke and say that song is how my soul sounds. Like that is my soul in a song. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I'm talking about the production, the instruments on this. But that's the kind of song why I fell in love with country music. The pedal steel on it is just stunning. Like absolutely stunning. Joe Harvey White does all my pedal steel. He's done it since day one. And he is so talented. You don't have to say anything to him. Do you know what I mean? All I said to him was like, I want an old school feel, Dolly, Loretta, Patsy Cline, all that kind of stuff. And he was there. He was done.
He's got it.
And I've decided I'm always like I'm going to obviously be releasing EPs for a couple of years before I actually get to an album. But I'll always have an old school song on it. I would, again, like with the ballads, I'd love to release a whole EP of old school stuff, but especially here in the UK, it's not what goes so much. I think people are more interested in the more produced commercial kind of thing, which I'm still dead happy and proud to do. But I'll always love the old school traditional kind of thing.
kind of with you on this. I mean, I was watching an interview with Charlie Daniels, who is obviously,
Wow,
a
yeah.
country legend,
Yeah.
and he got ripped a little bit for it, but someone, I don't know, played him some modern pop country songs, and he just went, I can't even tell the difference between this and the last one. And people said, oh, you can't say that's just the way music's going, you're too old school.
Yeah.
But he was kind of saying what you're saying is, it's almost what sells, isn't it? And if that's what people buy, you feel like you have to do it in a sense.
Well, see, I do and I don't feel like that, because I will never. I mean, if I wanted to sell, I wouldn't be doing country music. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'll always stay true to my heart and my music. And at the end of the day, this is the music that comes out of me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so true to myself. The lyrics are me. And I have my producer, Jack, who does have like that input of the more commercial stuff. And I'm so grateful for him, and I couldn't do it without him. But I don't do it because I feel I have to.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know how to explain it, because if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing where.
I mean, why don't you do that EP of ballads or old school stuff? What's stopping you?
I probably would. And I probably will. But I think at the moment I can only afford to do one EP every year and a half or something. So when I'm earning more money, or if I do ever earn more money, I will. If I can start churning them out quicker, I definitely will. But I think at the moment it's just finance, really.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I always
I'll always have an old school country song on them, always, because I have to. Because it's
part of you.
That's my favorite track on the EP.
That's cool. Yeah, I can hear your enthusiasm talking about it, and because you kind of touched on it a little bit now about lyrics, but I mean, I think about this question way too much. But why is it with country music and singing about alcohol? I mean, they just go hand in hand.
Yeah. I don't know why. Why?
I feel like we should be having a drink now, like as we're chatting.
I was going to, but I'm trying to stop drinking in the week. In lockdown, because I'll be drinking every night. So yeah, I know we should have, shouldn't we? Oh, never mind.
I love just the absolute honesty. Like, you don't try to hide a thing about yourself. Like, yeah, I should probably stop drinking in a week.
I know. I just binge drink at the weekend. No, I'm joking. I
mean, hell, as long as you're not doing it before breakfast, you're fine.
I know, exactly.
I mean, it's okay before breakfast as long as you haven't gone to sleep in the time before. Then it still counts as the last night, so you're okay. It's all about balance.
You can have a drink again, guy.
Yeah. Middle of a week.
Yeah, will be. You watch, actually will be.
I'll do it. But what is it? Why does it go so hand in hand? I mean,
I don't know. Do you think it's maybe something to do with country music is just so truthful, and people like a drink? Like, I think sometimes people hide the fact they like a drink, and I don't know why. So, and because it is so deep, and like, my favorite thing to do is sit at my desk with a glass of wine and my guitar and a notepad in front of me. That's my favorite, with candles. Do you know what I mean? That's my favorite thing to do. And I don't know, because everyone does it. Do you know who Laura McKenna is and the Love Junkies?
I don't think I do. No.
You'll know that they're these incredible country music songwriters. Really, they wrote "Girl Crush," "Happy People," "Cry Pretty," "Carrie Underwood," loads and loads.
Okay. Yeah.
And they joke about when they wrote "Girl Crush," they were drinking coffee in the morning, and then in the late afternoon, evening, they went on to wine. And that's just how they do it. Like, she was telling the story of how they wrote Girl Crush, and they get together at like weekly periods of time, and they all live in separate cities, and like drink coffee and then wine at like noon until the evening, which is crazy because that's a lot. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're just so honest about it. I don't know what it is.
I think
I had the answer.
I mean, I think, and it's a big question to give you. I didn't really expect an answer, I suppose, to be fair. I mean, it's like, I just asked you to sum up the last 50 years of country music, but I know what you mean. There's a certain truth to it, and I think there's a morality that is attached to drinking, and I think we often sort of have connotations of guilt towards it. But then I think that's why country music is so accessible and relatable to people, because I think it almost, without sounding too dark, it highlights people's own demons or their own truths and their own lives, and it's reflected in music, and therefore maybe it's more relatable to people. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Do you know what? I bet if you Googled it, there'd be some really good explanations on there.
I Google a lot of stuff with country music. I had to Google honky tonk the other day because I wasn't sure if it was a racial slur or not. I wasn't sure if I could use it, but it's okay because it describes either a style of piano or a kind of bar. So
Yeah,
it's fine.
yeah, yeah.
Because I was listening to what were they called? Confederate Railroad, which
Oh,
is
is that a
which
band?
yeah, they're like a kind of like early 90s, I suppose, sort of southern country rock band, but
Oh, I've
obviously kind
never
of
heard of them.
yeah, they're like but Confederate Railroad, and they got chucked off some country festivals last year because of their name, and they sing a lot about honky tonk stuff, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
can I say this? But no, I can say it, it's fine.
yeah.
I just had to be like really careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so where were we? So that was Comfort. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess kind of going on now. So what's that? Track number 4 is the title track, the single, Country Words.
Yeah.
So I know we spoke a little bit about this, but maybe for people who didn't hear the last podcast or haven't checked it out yet, tell us a little bit about Country Words, kind of how that song came about, the meaning behind it, how it was recorded.
This is the kind of song I like. This is the song that I like to like refer to as the "Don't Mess with the Songwriter" song, and "Don't Mess with the country women" kind of thing, because it's literally I at the restaurant I worked at when I was in university. There was this woman who just I walked in. I mean, how old was I? I was young. I was like 21, and I was really naive at that age. You know what I mean? Like, I was a late developer. And I walked in, and she just didn't like me. Like, I don't know what it was, and it really got me down. Like, it really got me down. And I was like, what have I done? And like, because I went to an all girls school, and if you've like pissed someone off and they give you the dirty look, she did that, and she was like this 50-year-old woman. And then eventually she came around after like 3 or 4 months of me starting there, realizing, bless this little girl, she hasn't done anything. I mean, I wasn't little, I was 21, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't done anything, and by the end of it, she called herself my London mum, and I was like, whoa there, woman. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
But during this whole process, I wrote this song, Country Words, and it was just, in a way, trying to figure out why she was being like this with me. Was she jealous? If you listen to the song, you'll hear the lyrics in it. There's, but yeah, it was weird. And it was like, you don't mess with me because I take inspiration from all these women, Dolly, Loretta, and you don't mess with us. So that kind of thing.
That's pretty
And it
cool.
turned out a proper Rocky kind of production.
It's a cool production, and I know when we played this live as well, it's really gets going as well. Sort of like that open-ended guitar solo that Sam plays and is it's a lot of fun. It's definitely one to close for night, I think. It's
yeah, definitely. It's definitely a closer, isn't it? 100%.
But it's interesting because kind of the arc of your EP, and I was listening to it because we kind of hit, I guess, Country Words, and then we start going, and it's interesting you said how much you enjoy the kind of the slower songs, because I feel like we hit Country Words in the EP, and then we go down this arc of now we're getting into ballads, now we're getting into what's the word, maybe not like authentic songs, but heartfelt songs, maybe a little more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That makes it sound like your other songs aren't heartfelt, but do you know?
Oh, I know what you mean, though. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But no, I really like Country Woods. It's quite nice in the middle of the EP, and because it's the title track as well.
Yeah, I like that song, and I love performing that live with you lot. It's so fun.
Yeah. It's very, very cool. And then that leads on to I'm Not Pretty.
Yeah. So these are kind of just like the bonus tracks, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just thought I'd chuck them on because I never had I'm Not Pretty or Someone to Drink With out physically. So
Okay.
I
Right.
pop these on. So if anyone comes to a gig or anything, they can buy them physically, but they are on the digital release as well.
Okay, that makes sense then, because I kind of looked at these and I think we spoke about this last time. I remember playing on like an old recording of I'm Not Pretty years ago.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool that you've kind of obviously modernized it. Well, not modernized, but like new production value. You've put it under the guise of this EP as well.
Yeah.
Given that longevity to the track. But I didn't realize that you'd never done the physical release of these songs.
No, this is the first physical piece of music I've ever released. So it's also for like new people or like who discover my music either on Spotify or at a gig or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They just click on it and then everything I've released is there.
Yeah.
So, and then like obviously when I start the next project, it'll be another fresh thing. So there won't be like bits and bobs everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay, so you've kind of compartmentalized it.
Yeah.
So this is the like the 2020 release almost, and then like you said, in a year and a half, and then you kind of have the next EP.
Yeah.
And whatever comes with that then.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Okay, so then it will kind of be the time for rebranding, sort of the new look, for new photo shoots, for new everything really.
I'm already going crazy for it. I can't wait for this EP to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can literally jump back in the studio. I'll be like being like Tigger back into the studio. I can't wait. Literally can't wait.
Can you give us an insight or like a sneak peek into some of the things you're planning for the next release or ideas you're working on?
I think I've got 3 songs that I know I want to record, unless obviously, because I always have like a mental list. And I wrote a song a while ago that has been at the top of that list. Like it's a mental record, like a studio list.
Okay.
And I've got a song that I wrote ages ago that's been at the top of that list for ages. So I know that's going in. And obviously if I write, I'm going back in studio in January, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And obviously if I write anything else, it'll kind of knock things down in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I've got 3 songs at the moment that are definite to be recorded. And they're all a bit like, they're more like the style of country words. A bit sassier, a bit like feistier in a way. So I've got some good like promo pic ideas and like new branding, imagery, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for it.
Oh, cool. Okay. What are you kind of thinking about new branding and promo pics?
I mean, I think everything I've released so far is kind of like the girl next door kind of thing. And I will always be like that because that is very much my personality, but just a bit darker, like maybe some very pastel-y right now, my colours and stuff. So I might go a bit darker, like that kind of thing. I'm not sure yet. We'll see.
No, it's cool. I'm very much all for artists associating colours with them, and like one of my life goals is not to talk about Jack White as much as I want to, but he's like just to give you a little tidbit.
He's awesome though, come on.
I mean, I absolutely love him. But he's all for colours, and so when it was the White Stripes, it was obviously red and white.
Yeah.
Then when he did Raconteurs, it was more kind of earthy colours, the browns and the greens. Dead Weather was black and yellow. Now his solo stuff is blue and black.
Yeah.
And you can just see him on stage, and you can instantly tell what era of his career he's in because the lighting.
Yeah, it's so great.
But it's so simple, isn't it, when you think about it?
Literally, it really is. Like, he's such a good musician. He did something with Ashley Monroe a couple of years ago, and I often go back and watch that video on YouTube.
He did he's just done I think it was last year it came out. He did a part of like a collaboration album with some other country artists.
Yeah, you've told me about. Why haven't I listened to this? You told me about this the other week.
This was another one. I found another one that he's done, which is lost Hank Williams songs.
Oh my god.
And I don't know if it was like old ones of Hank's that like never got released, or they were sort of B-sides, or I don't know. And Jack White and a bunch of kind of
Have you listened to it?
yeah, it's really
Good.
cool, really
Oh
cool.
my God. What's it called? Lost Hank Williams?
Yeah, I think it's called like the lost Hank Williams tracks, or the lost years of Hank Williams or something.
Is it on Spotify?
It is, yeah.
Oh
I'll
God.
I'll, I'll try to dig it out. I think I saved some of them into like my liked songs, into like
Yeah.
a playlist or something.
Wow.
Um,
That sounds really good.
yeah,
We
it was a
didn't
bit
get enough Hank
surprised.
Williams music, did we?
We what?
Definitely.
Sorry.
We didn't get enough Hank Williams music. We lost him way too soon.
I don't really know much about. I know more maybe about Hank Williams Jr., but not so much about his
Yeah,
dad.
yeah. I think his like Hank Williams, the like OG, was
Mhm.
like 23 when he died.
What?
Yeah, I think so. Oh,
Wow.
I mean, he was very, very young. But I think he was like early 20s. I'll have to go back and fact check myself, but I'm pretty sure he was dead young. Like super sad. Like imagine the music because of that.
He was dead young.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. I didn't realize that.
No, I know you didn't, but I heard it that when I was like,
Yeah.
I'm so gonna say that. That's kind of cool though. Like if he was like 23 or early 20s, and God knows how many years later, this is now like 40, 50 years or something, and we're
Yeah.
still talking about some dude
I
who
know.
died in his early 20s. That's even more impressive.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch the movie of him now.
I didn't know there was a movie out. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that.
Yeah. It's cool. Oh, Tom Hiddleston's in it. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's a really, really good British actor. Um,
I'm awful with names like that. I
I
really
think,
am.
I think the film's called I Saw the Light, actually. So
Oh, okay.
I might watch that after this.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of artist movies that are out. I saw the Johnny Cash one and
Oh yeah,
Springsteen one. There's the Elton John, the obviously the Queen one, the Motley Crue
Mhm.
one. It's a real big fad right now, but I quite
Yeah,
enjoy them.
it is.
Um, cool. I feel like we're sidetracking loads here,
I know we are.
but it's great though. So yeah, I'm not pretty. We kind of touched on this, but this is the up tempo one. This is the jig. This is the one that makes
This
you want
is
to
the
get up
fun
and
one.
dance.
Yeah, this is the fun, like fluff one.
Hmm.
That's what I like to call it, even though I love it. But yeah, it was my first single. Like
Wow.
I'll always love that song. It's my first ever single. It went number one on iTunes, and it got its first radio play on Chris Country, and I just, yeah, I love that song, but it is fluff to me. I probably shouldn't be saying this on a podcast promoting the EP, but
I
yeah,
mean, I love the honesty. It's
yeah,
great.
it's a fun tune. It's written like it is literally. You want to get up and dance to it. Like I know so many people who that is their favorite of my music.
Do you know why as well? I think it's because it's a great song, but it's too short. And every time you listen to that song, you want it to go on again because
Yeah,
you want more of it. But it's like
yeah,
what, 2.5 minute song?
yeah. I think it's just 2 minutes.
And so you're like, oh, I didn't get enough of that feel. I want to
Yeah,
play that feel again. And yeah, then it keeps getting replayed, which I
yeah,
guess is great for a number of plays and stuff.
exactly. Exactly.
But then we go from kind of that, kind of the fluff, as you described it as, into real like country ballad territory now, like deep into something to someone to drink with.
Mhm.
Kind of I think it's the slowest song on the record.
Yeah, possibly. Or Mother, maybe. I'm not, yeah, one of them. But Someone to Drink With is one of maybe my favorite song I've ever written. I
Okay.
just love that song. Like it's so me. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so me, like a slow drinking song. Like in a way, that's my party song. Do you know what I mean? Like I just love it. Like I love that song, and I'm so proud of it. And I just like if I would say to someone, or if someone said to me, Shannon, what song should I go and listen to? I'd give them Country Words and Someone to Drink With.
It's so
Definitely.
interesting because they're such
Yeah,
opposites as
yeah,
songs, but I mean, it's funny, I guess. Like as an artist, everyone has their own preferences for whatever reasons on their songs, of when they were written, and the stories behind them. Um, why is it that that is your absolute kind of most proud song and your absolute go-to?
No, honestly, I remember when I wrote it, and it literally I think it was one of those songs that was written in like 20 minutes. And I remember it was my first year in uni, so it's a dead old song. Do you know what I mean? Keep using the word dead today. But it's a really old song, and I remember writing that first lyrics. I had my guitar on me, and I was watching a candle. I was watching a flickering candlelight, and what's the first lyric? When the light shines down on you, but all you see is the candlelight. And I remember writing that lyric, and it just all came out. And I remember the feeling. I was so lonely, like so lonely for no reason. And it was that typical thing of London, like it's so busy. There's like so many hearts beating around. One of the lyrics in the song, but you don't feel it. You don't feel it. Do you know what I mean? Like I was in my flat with 5 other people. I could just go knock on any of their doors and I would watch a movie or whatever. But I felt so lonely, and I don't know. And then obviously it's a country ballad, which is my favorite kind of music. I love that song so much. It's my heart and soul.
That's really cool. No, that's really insightful. And I guess kind of that really, as you were saying about heart and soul, that really leads nicely onto the closing track, which is Mother, which is another ballad, but a piano ballad. So very, very different feel to Someone to Drink With, I think. And this was so it says on the EP it's a live acoustic version of it.
Yeah.
How was that recorded? Like, was that like live at a gig or what was it?
No. It's actually a video on YouTube as well. But I recorded it with Alex Mail, and it was just literally piano vocal, one take with Sam in the background. And we did it as a video recording. It was a very last minute decision to put it on the EP, actually. Again, it was the kind of thing where collecting everything together, so everything is there in a way. And I love the song. It's so personal to me. It's one of those that I was quite nervous to even play live or put out anywhere. Do you know what I mean? But I always like to go by, I heard someone say it once, I don't know who it was, like a legend of country music or something. The best song always wins. And that I literally had to keep saying that in my mind before I put it anywhere. And I was just like, best song wins, best song wins. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, but just get it out there. And I'm glad it's on there as well. It's very different. You wouldn't usually put something like that onto an album or an EP. And I like the idea of it. It's very different corner of my music. So
no, definitely, and it was quite an unexpected turn at the end. But then I guess that's what makes an EP interesting. If it's just sort of same style of songs, same everything, kind of tracks 1 to 7, it's going to be boring. But I think your EP is very, very varied, and it's great to listen to because it takes you on this kind of musical arc and this musical journey, kind of through all the different subgenres of your music and the feels and the different emotions. So I thought it was a great EP. I really enjoyed listening to it.
Oh, thanks, Guy. But I feel like that is like, you imagine it like a wave. Do you know what I mean? It's like a wave, the EP, and that is very much how I am as a person. Like I'm a very emotional person, and my music is like that. Like I love all kinds of music, and I mean, obviously you can't hear all of my influences in the music, but like you can hear the commercial. Like I love commercial pop music, country music, rock music, like One Direction. Oh my God, love them. But then like at the same time, I love the Eagles and all that kind of stuff. And I try, like, do you know Casey Musgraves?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, she's just released an album, and it's so different. Like, and it's like we were saying before with the ballad EP, she's been able to do a whole album completely different, like a way, like it's very, I don't know if you've listened to her last album, Golden, I think it is. Yeah, Golden. And it's very different. And because obviously, like I said, I can only afford to put an EP out every year and a half, whatever, 2 years. I wanted to put that variants on into one EP and listen to it, because like you said, you don't want to listen to a whole album of the same stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, thanks so much, Shannon. It was so great to get your insight and your knowledge of your EP and your work, and kind of hear it from your mouth. And so when obviously people go and listen to these tracks, they can really understand and almost, dig that level deeper and be like, oh, cool, I get that now. And like, there's different reference points to it based on what you've said. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about kind of the release coming up, just where people can get it, kind of Spotify, Apple Music, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, it's coming out on the 23rd of November on all digital platforms. So if you're listening, it would be amazing if you go and pre-save it or pre-order it, because that makes such a difference to an artist. Like, it took me a while to even understand it, but it makes such a big difference. The more pre-saves you get, the more chance I can get my music out there to more listeners. So pre-saving it would be amazing. If you can't wait, you can go to shannonhynes.com and you can buy it physically there, and I'll get it sent out to you straight away. I've got nothing else going on right now. Going to the post office is great for me. There'll be lots of promotion in the next 2 weeks. We've got some exciting plans. We're doing a live stream on the 22nd on my Facebook page. Get the champagne out, all that kind of thing. Put a sparkly top on.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be lots of fun the next 2 weeks with promoting it. So, yeah.
Excellent. Oh, amazing. Well, thanks so much, Shannon. It's been really great having you back on the show again, and I'm sure we'll be doing it for the next EP or the next single. So,
yeah, God, yeah, that'll be amazing. I want to say thank you to you as well for having me, and you do so much for me and my music. Guy is like the best drummer I know, and he is so much fun to be on stage with. Like, it's so great, and he's great to talk to. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to go through each track like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not often you get an opportunity to do that. So.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I should probably say for the record of a podcast that I don't pay Shannon to say any of these things, and it's
God, I'd embarrass myself if you did. Imagine. You'd be like, I'm paying her to embarrass herself here.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much, Shannon. I really appreciate it.